Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 Ford Focus RS. This is the last model year, somewhat of a limited edition. Only came in two colors, this nitrous blue and a red. They only made 500 of each color in the US, and I think they did the same in Canada and across the world. They made more, obviously. But it is the final hurrah of the Ford Focus RS. And I remember hearing a lot of great things about this car, so I'm pretty excited to get behind the wheel. It weighs over 3,400 pounds and is powered by a turbocharged inline-4 that's a 2.3 liter, making 350 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. We're on the stock 19-inch wheels with Pilot Sport Cup 2 rubber. We got Brembo brakes. And the main mods you need to know, as always, the full mod list is down in the description. We've got Road and Track coilovers, Ferodo DS2500 brake pads, and the alignment is such that we have negative 2.4 in the front, negative 1.8 in the rear, and 0.1 degrees of toe out in the front. This is set up for autocross, so a lot of direction change. Now, getting to the interior for the 2018, we do have a few special touches like the carbon fiber here and here, and we got these Recaro bucket seats, which look promising, right? You get inside, but if I'm being honest, not the most comfortable. I guess the seats are okay, and I like that they have some degree of lateral support, but my thigh is like, you can't actually adjust the angle of the lower part of the seat, and this part is digging into my thigh, and then the pedals are really far low, so you're kind of sitting in like a chair. I haven't been able to get comfortable, and then the headrest is pushing my head pretty far forward. Pretty uncomfortable seating position, substantially more so than other cars I've driven, actually. Other than that, the interior is very much a Ford Focus. We do have drive modes here. We also need to disable this engine start stop. For drive modes, we're going to start in normal. We're going to press the traction control button once to get it into that sport mode of traction. And we're off. This has the optional Ford Performance exhaust. And for a stock setup, it is pretty rowdy. All these pops and bangs, and for a OEM exhaust, I mean, keep in mind, this is not the stock, right? This is the Ford Performance, which was an option. It's up there. Or rather, I should say, it's out there. Red line around 6,700 RPM. Getting a lot of instability with the front end. I think part of that is the toe out. It does not want to go in a straight line. Makes a lot more sense on autocross than in the canyons, unless you do, ooh, squirrel. Unless you're doing these tighter turns. Yeah, these Road and Track, the damping is it's dialed up pretty high. Over some of the larger bumps, we are getting some pogo sticking, but the owner tells me this is still much improved over the stock adaptive dampers, even in their softest setting. Now, of course, with the Road and Track, when we go between these various modes, we're not gonna have adaptive dampers. This is just this car has character for sure, guys. There's no doubt about that. But it's a car that's making me want to grip the steering wheel tighter than normal because it doesn't want to go in a straight line. Let's do a little pull right here. Yeah, it just kind of randomly pulls in different directions. With the 2018 model year, they have this revised LSD that helps reduce torque steer. Because this isn't an all-wheel drive system, it's front wheel biased. And not much torque steer. I think that the instability in it going left and right is not so much torque steer, it's more with the suspension setup. Because mid-corner, you get on the power, you're not really pulling in one direction or another. Now let's dial this up into sport mode. Steering gets heavier. I mean, it's all artificial though. The pops and bangs get more aggressive. All right. This car doesn't take itself too seriously, which is cool. It's the transmission is longer throws, aftermarket shift knob here. Not the tightest, but it's also not a bad transmission, but it's not like a Honda S2000 where it encourages you to row through the gears just for the sake of rowing through the gears. The main thing that bothers me about the driving experience is really just the seating position, which I still cannot get comfortable after driving this for 20 minutes. Ferodo DS2500 pads, I think, are fine for autocross. They're fine for dual duty, but they are not, they're not my favorite. I have used them quite a bit on my FRS back in the day. They're an okay, sportier compound. I would probably go for something else. The engine makes a good amount of power for the weight of the vehicle. You don't have terrible turbo lag. Man, these pops and bangs though. Let's go into track mode. Drive mode selection not available, it says. So, this definitely still feels like a front wheel bias system, but my understanding is that it does have, in these other modes like track and drift, it can send variable amounts to the rear. I believe it's up to 75%, because once it sends it to the rear based on whether you choose track or drift, I think track is actually 50-50, but it'll also adjust the inner versus the outer wheel, and it's probably more of like a part-time system, because when you're pushing this, it still does feel front-wheel drive bias. You're not really getting that rotation that you want on throttle that you would get from something that is more rear-wheel drive bias, or that truly is sending more torque to the rear. It's probably only when it's detecting slip is what my guess would be, but you guys let me know in the comments below if I'm mistaken. Pogo sticking, even on the not too harsh of bumps. So, I mean, overall, from a driving enjoyment perspective, it's more of like a silly, rowdy car than technically proficient. The steering is not the best. You don't have very good feedback. You don't have very good loading or communication. In the various modes, they just artificially make it heavier without adding anything, and it doesn't feel confidence inspiring. I'm gripping the wheel really hard, just trying to keep it in a straight line. That might just be the setup for this particular vehicle. The ergonomics and the way you're seated in the vehicle is definitely the hardest thing for me to get around when driving this car. But at $30,000 to $35,000, you know, not everyone wants a super razor edge, hardcore, well-balanced front engine rear-wheel drive sports car. Some people want 4 to 5 seats, right? They want the practicality of a hatch, the rowdiness of a vehicle like this. When designing this Focus RS, the Ford team was clearly having a good time. They weren't taking themselves too seriously. And just know that when you're getting in this car, because from a technical perspective, it's not going to impress you with its competence, but it's going to put a smile on your face. It's going to have a good time. It's going to give you and your passengers some giggles in the process. But if you're pushing it on the canyons or pushing it on track, you're going to feel those limitations. And for those prioritizing those aspects, it may not be the best fit. Also love how the owner, Nico, it's like his tradition. He'll take a little model car and 3M sticky tape it on the dash, which is awesome. I love little touches like that, add some personality. And forgot to mention these gauges. I think it's cool, driver focused, although in the Z, how they have 3 separate ones, that I think is a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. My friends, let me know what you think of the Ford Focus RS. Is it worth the 30 to 35K that it's going for on the used market? Big thanks to Fenton Sun for making this review possible. Go check out his channel, linked below. Big thanks to Nico, the owner, for letting me review his car. And if you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the homepage. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.